Hey, it's Shop Talk, baby. This is the show where it's okay to be you. We're talking from Yale to jail and from the church house to the pimp house. Nothing's excluded on Shop Talk. So if you don't have a phone, I suggest you borrow one. Call in and voice your opinion live every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Yeah, that's right, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Don't forget to Shop Talk with your girl, because right here, oh, we keep it real. Good morning to my lovely people, and welcome to Shop Talk with Mel. Today's guest is the lovely, we all know her as Nick the Voice. She keeping it 100 and let the people know what's really going on in the city. So
yes, I sure do. Good morning, everybody.
And we have a guest today. Community activist Shimmie Miller is in the building.
Good morning.
Let's give him a warm Shop Talk welcome. We gotta do it. I love my little sound effects.
Right.
Doing what we have to do. So, real quick, how was you guys' week?
Nothing but work, but it was good.
Okay.
I'm making that money, so I ain't mad. I ain't complaining, not one bit.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. You, Shimmie, what happened?
I'm complaining because I ain't making no money. I ain't making no money, so I'm complaining. I ain't making no money, and I'm working hard.
That's how it is when you're on a mission.
You know?
Yeah.
But it was a good week. It was, it was a lot going on this week, but I'm blessed to be on top of this soil, so I'm trying not to complain.
Right. I heard that. That's really important. That's really, really important.
Yeah.
To be on this side of the dirt, honey, to be on this side of the dirt. Now, let's just jump right into this. Today's topic for my listening audience is point taken. If you know me, you know that I believe that everyone has a perspective. I believe that 110%. I believe everyone has an opinion, and it's okay to voice that. You know what I mean? And it's okay. We can agree to disagree at times. So that's why I invited our guest, community activist Shimmie Miller. In this case, we probably don't disagree.
I was about to say, dang, already.
We probably don't disagree on what we gonna Shop Talk about. But but me and Nick don't agree on everything. She got a different perspective, and that's why I like it. That's why I had a panel that I have. It's like, tell me your view and I'll tell you mine. But like I said, today's topic is point taken. Now, you guys, we're all close in this Tri-County area, hometown, Youngstown, Ohio. It's a lot going on that's not just happening in Youngstown, Ohio, with all the killings. And I just got to address this off top. And I want to know your view. I see people blame the mayor. And that's just a little different. And I'm trying to understand why that is. And they're blaming the mayor for the killings that's going on. And my thoughts personally is he's at home sleeping and he didn't kill anyone. How do you blame the mayor? And I know, like, you being out in the community, Shimmie, and Nick, word to the curb, you got it down. What are people saying that they feel as though that the mayor is responsible for the killings? Or have you even heard anyone say that?
I've heard him complain about a lot and say it's his fault about a lot of things going on, but is it his fault? I mean, he's working to do what he can do, but the mayor can only do so much. He still has to answer to somebody else as well. And it's like, this was the problem before he became mayor. So how are you blaming him for a problem that's been going on for as long as we can remember? that it's not his fault. He's doing everything he can to try to rectify the problem, but it's just like, what y'all expect him to do? Go to everybody's door, knock on the door, tell them keep your keys in the house. Y'all give me them guns, stay in the house. Don't be selling drugs. Don't be doing this. No fight. Like, really?
All right, Shimmie, come with it. I know you got it. Go for it.
First and foremost, it's a lot easier to blame somebody else instead of blaming yourself and looking at yourself and taking responsibility. It's first and foremost, right? And the mayor is the easiest target because he's the mayor. And a lot of people, or most people who blame the mayor, don't understand politics or don't understand the role or the limitations or the abilities that the mayor has, right? The mayor can lock down the city, but then you're gonna have people complaining about the city being locked down.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
He could put more police out, but he can't put more police out because he don't have more police to put out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or if he bring out more police, like, you know, get police from different areas or whatever, then people gonna complain about it being too much police and getting harassed by the police. So it's a double-edged sword, but at the end of the day, we are guilty of always trying to blame somebody else and not taking responsibility for our shortcomings or the things that we aren't doing.
Okay. I agree. Look, we agree.
Right now.
Right
now.
Yeah, we agree. We agree right now.
Right now.
You brought up something very important. You said there's not police to put out, and you are right. If they're coming in, you know, if you have other people coming in, it costs money. And, you know, they're already like, hold on a minute, why are we spending all this money on this and being harassed? Just as you said, I know just with the basic checkpoints on a weekend for drinking, it was an issue.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why are they stopping us? Oh, they're on, you know, you name the street that they're on. So you try to avoid it. But why are we trying to avoid it? Are we trying to avoid it because we know that, oh, I'm going to be hammered on the weekend and drive intoxicated? Or is it, I don't feel like being harassed and I might start with this, and you like do a random check and then you add all this extra stuff that you're trying to look for, and then you find yourself caught up. What do you think on that, as far as like why people try to avoid checkpoints?
I think it's a combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a combination of both, you know. It's a combination of both.
You, Nick?
Yeah, it is a combination of both, because I know me, if I ain't doing that and I ain't drinking, I don't care about no police checkpoint. You know, do what you got to do. But if I know I'm out there drinking, then you know I'm going to avoid them at all costs. Period.
But but I'll say this, even without drinking, you know, we still have such mistrust for the police. So just if police on Indianola, I'm turning down Dewey. Like, you just because I don't even want to have to come by. I actually force myself to go by them. When they get behind me, I still get anxiety, and I got license registration. I told somebody the other day when they was asked, they said something about the police. I said, I ain't worried about it. I got license registration. I ain't got no drugs and no guns, so I'm cool. But then as soon as they get behind me, I still get nervous because, like, you know, we have that embedded in us, ingrained in us, and it doesn't just go away overnight.
Interesting perspective. And the reason is because I was going to point out how she said she was just stuck on the drinking as a female, as a Black female, where you were like, yeah, as a Black male. And then you elaborated. And I'm glad you did, because I always say that, you know, when I'm communicating with people, I say, here's the deal. And this is just for me as a female as well. When the police are behind you, I said, they do statistics on, okay, the African-American community are highest with hypertension and high blood pressure. I said, because when we walk out the door, anxiety sets in regardless. You know, it's like, okay, what is my day? I may come out and like, I'm going to have a great day. And then just as you said, all is well, you see the police and you know, all your ducks are in a row. It's like, okay, all my ducks are in a row. I'm doing everything the right way, but you still get that anxiety. And for those who don't know, that's when heart palpitations, and they may not be over the top, but you can feel like Are they gonna bother me? Sense of worry, like, are they gonna pull me over? And here's the thing, and you said embedded. Now, I understand when you say embedded, I understand what you mean, but I would actually say, and I'm not speaking for you, so hear me clear. When you are done wrong so many times, you kind of expect the worst. And that's a bad thing, and it's a sad thing. And it's because of experiences. So it's like, why is it that we have to go out, and we don't have to, but we do, because you said embedded, that word, we do expect the worst when you see the police behind you. They're trying to change the narrative, or if you see police anywhere, it's like, okay, you could be minding your own business. They up the street on the opposite side, then pull somebody else over, see you, and then all of a sudden you want to come and do a U-turn. I know you didn't run my plates yet. I know you did. Why did you pull me over? Because of the color of my skin? You know what I mean? What was it? You didn't see me swerving. You got somebody else over there, and see, this just happened yesterday. That's what this just happened. So I'm glad you brought that up. Yesterday, I was driving down the street, and I saw the police had pulled. I saw them when they pulled that car over. So it wasn't like they were finishing up. They pulled this car over. It was a Bronco. And yeah, ironically, right? it was a Bronco. And it was a white Bronco. And I looked in there.
Did OJ step out?
It wasn't OJ. It was more like a Oren or Aaron with an O. You know what I mean?
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, you see? So I said, but I saw them when they pulled them over. And then somebody else was driving up, and we were on the same side. And we had something in common, i.e. our skin color. Okay? That truck, I thought he was pulling me over. I ain't gonna lie. I was sitting there. That police turned off their lights from behind that, went around, did a U-turn, and pulled that car over. Now they had rims, no tint on the windows, nothing. And I just said, you know what? I said, that's sad, because even with everything that's going on, and I wasn't in Youngstown, but with everything that's going on, you still doing the same. Like, did your boy call you? Now it could be different, because you know how the police be sitting down somewhere else and they tell you, hey, this car is coming up. So to give the benefit of the doubt and to be fair, you know, they could have told him, hey, this car, whatever. But you left the white Bronco and spit around and went after that car. And it was an old school car. It was an old school, laid out. And I know the anxiety was there, because I had anxiety with my little phony ride. You know what I mean? And I'm basic. I'm like a secretary. I got a secretary's car. So it's like, I'm talking about the 1990 secretaries, not the new ones, you know. So it's like
not the administrative assistant car.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And it's like, I'm nervous, you know, just with that. And I said, man, this is crazy. So the anxiety does go up. And I believe that adds to that statistic regarding African Americans, you know, have the highest percentage of high blood pressure.
Absolutely. I was go ahead, Nick.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
So I had back surgery, so I started physical therapy last week. And I'm talking to my doctor, white doctor, and he said it quite a bit. He said it quite a bit, but one of the things he said that people don't get a lot of times, in general, like you said, we have a higher level of anxiety and hypertension and all these things because of the environments we come from and things like that. But he was telling me, he said, you know, as a Black man, you are looked to be the leader and the strength of your community. And as soon as you walk outside that community, you looked at as a criminal, right? This is a white man. He said, I have a Black friend who, if I gave him, he said, he didn't say if I gave him, he said, I gave him my Range Rover to go to the store. I think he said he lived in Poland, Canfield, somewhere like that.
Okay, the suburbs. Okay.
Yeah. He said, I gave him my Range Rover to go to the store. And 15 minutes, he was calling me because he was pulled over by the police. Right? I mean, so, and they can get behind me, like I say, and I'm all the way legit. My hands start sweating. I got to keep wiping my hands off because I don't want to lose control of my steering wheel. Right? My hands start sweating. My heart beats a little fast, and I ain't doing nothing wrong. But it's a lot of times it's what you've been through, but also it's what you see. You know, people have anxiety with the police in the neighborhoods, and they ain't never had no negative interaction with the police, just what you see.
And you know what? You're right. You're right, because even what we see and what we introduce to our children, it gives you the perspective on individuals, because you have some white people, younger, the children, and they see all negativity. And I know that we've all encountered this. You're different from the rest. You're different from the others. And that's not a compliment. Let me put that out there for my white people.
Right.
That's not a compliment, and it's like, okay. But what they see watching television is a negative. So when they actually meet us or meet a Black person, it's like, oh, you're different. Well, how many Black people do you really know?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? How many Black people do you really know? Hey, if you want in on this conversation, feel free to do so. The phone number here is 619-902-2287, 619-902-2287. And if you are shy, you can always text. I'll read your comments live.
And to piggyback off what you said, man, why am I different?
Yeah.
Why am I different? Why? Because we happened to be in a setting where you was able to actually get to know me. So how you know them people aren't different? Because you weren't in the setting to get to know them.
Mm-hmm. True.
No, because they have a set expectation about Black people, and see a comment like that from the other skin color, to me, has gotten them cussed out many a day. Don't say that to me. I'm not the one.
All right, Nick.
Don't.
Let me ask you this question. If you see 4 white boys with trench coats in the summer walking across the street, what's your first thought?
My first thought, I ain't gonna lie, why they got a trench coat on in the summertime? What they getting ready to do?
Same thing. I just wanted to put that point out there.
Right.
So it's really.
But when you see something like that, something get ready to go on though, for real.
And listen, okay. You know why?
Even with it would be the same thing with 4 Black boys with a trench coat in the summertime. I'd be like, what are they getting ready to do?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Let's open it all the way up. We know from our experience and what we see, white people wear shorts in the summer. I mean, in the winter.
Yep.
So if you were like, yeah, what they got that on for? So ding, 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 that bell is ringing. But that's perception. That's from us seeing it. And we like, okay, and we're always cold. So to see a Black person with a trench coat on in the summer, would you ask that, or tell me what's your first thought? And I want to know yours, Shimmie, and then I'll share my thought. If I seen a Black person with a trench coat in the in the summer. Go ahead.
I'm gonna think the same thing. What is you getting ready to do? It's hot out here. Why you got a trench coat on? Where you going?
Okay, go ahead. Shimmie, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, a trench coat. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna think the same thing.
Now you know what I would think. I was like, oh, they might be sick, and that's the only coat that they have. They must, you know what I mean? They might have a fever. That's what I would be thinking. If seeing a Black person, no lie, I'll be like, oh, they cold. They must be sick. You know?
In the summertime.
Seriously.
Yeah. And we heart-natured people. Come on now.
No, a whole lot of Black folk is anemic.
Well, anemic, because I've become anemic cold. Now. So yeah.
But I feel that, right? But a trench coat, not a hoodie or jacket, a trench coat.
How about this? Hey, I need you to come up real quick, and you'll remember the coat racks by the door? How many times have you seen where even like your aunt or your grandmother or whatever be like, let me grab that and run this on, I'm getting ready to run down the street?
But that's the auntie or the grandmama. Ain't no younger.
Not no younger.
Cause my mama done did it to me since I've been home, right? I'll be like, come on, mom, for real. Like, come on, man. Boy, ain't nothing wrong with this coat. It's hot. That's what's wrong with that coat. but again, she's anemic. So but that's our mamas and our grannies and aunties. Not no 25-year-old, you know what I'm saying? He putting on a hoodie or a jacket. He got a trench coat on. He got a hammer in it. But the thing is, and he got a big one because they put the hammer in there. Because they put the hammer in their waist with shorts on. So he got a big hammer.
Okay. And that's so interesting because you said like a hoodie, because that's the trend. That's what's going on. So you see a young person with a hoodie, but if we put a hoodie on and go outside, it looks suspect to the others.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'm not the others.
And all we got is some Skittles.
See, okay, shots fired. But I ain't gonna play that one because that's like no pun intended. You know what I mean? But
right.
It's interesting, and I want to put this out here. I'm not speaking for the others. I'm speaking for some others because if you're just tuning in, I always do my research first before I go and chat, and I speak to other people. And this isn't everyone's perspective. This is just a few people that I actually asked to see like what's the thought process. And if you met me, I always want to know what's your thoughts and what are you thinking and what's your perspective. And we can kind of dialogue and agree to disagree or agree all together. Now, let's talk about professional ethics. And this is something that went on with the death of the young girl. And I won't say her name or anything like that to respect the family. But the baby, the student, I'm gonna talk about this girl though that went on here on Facebook Live. So she did it publicly, so we could talk about it publicly. She a teacher. Now here's the deal: a teacher. We didn't know she was a teacher. Didn't know her at all. So she put all her own information out there. A teacher speaks about a young girl who was killed, murdered. Let's just put it out there, murdered. And she felt the need to use adjectives, which is good. It's a teacher adjective, describe the noun, but they were negative adjectives, not the brightest student. Who asked that question?
Nobody.
And a lot of people were going back and forth, and I let everybody, let me see what's happening before I wanted to address the issue. Not the brightest student, she said that several times though, not the brightest, not the smartest academically, but she could count money. And I'm like
nobody's business.
But wait a minute though, like it was her job.
Like it was her job.
But here's my thing. Counting money is arithmetic, math. Is that not an academic?
Thank you.
I felt like, I don't know if she was trying to dry snitch on her environment to the public, to say like, this is her upbringing, this is who she's around. I didn't understand the point of that. Help me. Did you read it? Did you read it, Nick?
Several times, and I was sitting here every single time I read it. I got madder and madder.
Oh my gosh!
Child, listen. If that woman was sitting across from me at the time that I read that, I probably would have reached out and strangled the shit out of her, for real. Because there was no sense. I understand that, you said she was one of your favorite students. She was one of your good students.
Who said that?
Well, she said she was one of her favorite students or something like that? Because she was angry about what happened. I understand you're angry about what happened and that, at the end, pray for her family and this and that. But all that other stuff in between, you did not have to say. If you were upset at the fact that a 10-year-old child lost her life senselessly, then just let that be and ask for prayer for the family. That's it. All that other stuff in between, honey, you could have kept that to yourself. If it was a problem, you should have contacted her parents or her godparents, who were, I guess, the guardians of her. That's who you should have talked to about that, not the whole entire community that can read everything. Because guess what? It backfired on you. To the
Okay,
point where you had to deactivate your page, you big dummy.
okay. For the listening audience who may not know what's going on, I'd like to catch you up, okay? This is from Amy Louise Traficante, okay? And I'm gonna read it for you. I woke up this morning to news of a shooting in Youngstown. Sadly, this is nothing new, but what came next has devastated me. A student of mine was shot and killed, 10 years old. WTF, question, exclamation point, and an angry emoji. I am so angry and sad at the same time. This baby was not the brightest student, but she was our caregiver and protector. She struggled with all academics, but could count money like it was her job. This little girl was tough and sweet at the same time and appreciated attention and kindness. When she would fall asleep in class, which was often, in parentheses, I gave her time to rest. She explained that she was up taking care of her younger brother because her parents were both working. She wasn't the brightest academically, but she could run a household and take care of a family even in the second grade. My heart aches today. I am so incredibly sad for this baby girl and her brothers who loved her so much. Her parents must be absolutely lost. Please say a prayer for all of them. Now, that's what it says. Yeah, your girl, I had that screenshot before she removed it. Got it. And it was shared over and over.
Yes, a lot of people screenshot.
We already, listen, you have to be careful what you post. Okay? Because a post is not what it's supposed to be. You know? And
exactly.
Her sharing that, I wanted to put that out there for people who didn't know, that was the letter. Her sharing that as a professional was different. Shimmie, I want you to weigh in on it and then we'll kind of talk about it.
I have a lot of emotions about that, but not necessarily the ones that everyone else has.
Yeah, talk to us.
Was it poor in taste? Yes. Was it insensitive? Yes. Was that the intention? I don't believe so. I believe this was someone not of our culture who was trying to express empathy and trying to, you know, they say you only know the value of something when you have something to compare it to, right? In this case, the thing she was trying to compare the good stuff that the little girl was able to do to the bad. She shouldn't even mention that. That wasn't the platform or the time to do that, right? But I believe that was what her intent was. She's not able to do this well, but she does this great. But I think, again, what the timing was poor, the platform was horrible, but I don't think her intention was to be malicious or insensitive. I don't believe that. I could be in the minority, but I don't believe that. But what bothers me, but even if it was, right? We are so quick to attack that, but we got so much other stuff that we can focus our energy on to attack. And we ain't doing it. So, you know, it wasn't the best thing. I've seen worse. And we look for any opportunity to jump on somebody so that we don't pay attention to what's going on with the stuff that we got to do. That's just my opinion.
And I appreciate that. Let's go to the viewers, the comments. Deontay says that teacher had no need to disclose her academics. She was trying to snitch, as far as like the dry snitching, like I was talking about. Let me see. That was like that reporter, don't want to say her name, that interviewed Kobe Bryant's wife and was talking about, you know, the negative stuff. Okay, that was from Daryl. Okay, now here's my view. I got several takes on it. Like you said, Shimmie, you said that we try to find the negative, I guess.
We start with the negative to highlight the positive.
I.e., that was what she did.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what she did. When you read a story or whatever, even writing, what's important, or writing a letter, what's important is at the beginning and at the end.
At the end.
And at the beginning, she said she wasn't the brightest. And at the end, she said she wasn't the brightest.
I see, I disagree.
Wait,
Go
you
ahead.
can, but give me my point.
Go ahead.
I got that. Now, and that's what stood out. Do I think, and we as a people, and I can only speak for me in this case, I don't look at the negative at all. When I read it, did I get upset? I didn't get upset behind it because I believe in cultural differences. And I'm like, okay, she may not know that this is not a good thing. I think that some people were really upset because when you look at the adjectives that were used, it kind of took you up and down a little bit. When you said intent, just like court, it's the intent. You know, it's like, okay, are you found innocent or guilty? The intent. What was your intentions? You know what I mean? And I don't think that her intent was to actually, and I can't speak for her because I'm not her, to pretty much belittle her. But let me put this out here. Listen here, teachers of mine, don't be blasting. Something happened to me. Don't be talking about my D's I had in the class. I'm like, even, you know, because then you look at like with HIPAA. You know, HIPAA to medical, like, can I disclose this medical information? Do teachers have that same thing?
They don't.
I have to say, I know that, but I just want people to think, do they have that same?
They need to.
That's where I'm trying to go, but let me finish my point because y'all keep cutting me off. And what happens is, it shuts me out. I'm deleted and you guys come in. So it's like, should you be able to disclose somebody's grades or their academic, let me see, I hate to use negative words. That's why I'm trying to find something. Challenges, there you go. Their academic challenges, should you disclose that? No, because let me say this. When she wrote it, no, I didn't pull out, just say, okay, the negative thing at all. It was just like, now, why would somebody say that? And I think people were upset. This is what the point I was trying to make. I think people were upset because it was a child. And even if that child was not murdered or harmed, but just a child, it's like, why would you say that? To me, that's a weight. And I said, this teacher, whether people believe it or not, if this teacher is saying this publicly, I don't know, because these are the thoughts. What is she saying privately, unintentionally harming people? And not just, this is not a black or a white thing, it's a right thing. Just students. So, and to say she's not the brightest in the second grade, I'm like, she just got here. This baby, she only been here 7 years. You know what I mean? Can we develop? So I think it was just a child, and removing that child from the situation. It's like, this is a child you speak negatively of. And to me, it's like, she's a weight on the future of our youth. So are you helping or harming our youth? You send your child to school, you build up their self-esteem, and you want to know why they come back home all down and their self-esteem is low. Is it somebody who has cultural differences that don't know that they're being insensitive, harming our children? You think it's another student, and it could be the person in leadership. And let me say this, growing up in the public school system, I have seen it. I have seen where teachers will tear down a child and not let them know that you can be great or greater. Now, did she say this? I don't know. I'm not speaking for her. I'm just giving you another perspective or some way to look at it. Now, here's another one. When the godmother spoke, the godmother pretty much justified, yeah, she had academic challenges, but her lead level affected that. She had high lead levels. So and it's like, oh, wow, here's this. Now that's a medical issue. So now you look at it from that perspective and say, so you make a post capitalizing on her disabilities. So you got that, that perspective coming in. So it's almost like, why are you attacking a child? Now, this is where I'm going with that. If you were at a funeral, an adult funeral, and you know how they say, anybody want to speak on, up here, on the deceased, speak on behalf of or not on the behalf, but want to speak something, has a story to share about the deceased. If you were there at an adult funeral and somebody said negative things about the deceased, what would be your response? Go ahead, Shimmie. That's the scenario. What would be your response?
Well, hold on, because I want to go back to others.
No, you can go back, but let's stay focused.
All right.
What would be your response? Write it down so you don't forget.
What would be my response if somebody says some negative stuff
At a funeral, at an adult funeral?
At an adult funeral.
Would you be sitting there? Would you be looking down like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this? Like, I just want to know.
I don't know what my response would be.
Okay, Nick. Wait, Nick. What would your response be? If you were at a funeral, and not to say it's your loved one or just randomly you're
just there. Anybody in general, regardless, period. I would be like, what is wrong with that person? I know they didn't just, yeah.
Now, the reason I'm bringing that up, cultural differences, because we have been groomed to not speak our truth, because we know some deceased people that did some shady stuff. But if you go up and you speak at their services, we shine a light on their positives. That's the point that I was trying to make, cultural differences. So to her, just as you said, Shimmie, it probably, she didn't think she was being insensitive. That was her norm, clearly. It probably, like, okay, because you're putting that out there publicly. So we can't charge her with that because of our cultural differences. And that's what I was trying to say. Go ahead, Shimmie. And I don't even know her at all, but I'm like, man, maybe it's.
Well, as far as that, as well, first let me address, and one of the biggest reasons why I changed my life around. If I was to point at one sole thing, it would be because I didn't want people to lie at my funeral. I didn't want people looking people in the audience like, yeah, he was a piece of crap. But then all these people getting up there talking about the good stuff. I didn't want that stuff to be a lie. So that's why I started changing my life around.
That's
to
amazing.
Go back to it. That's literally that was the impetus for me changing my life around, right? To go back to the letter real quick. When you actually look at the letter, and you know how they say negative travel faster than positive. When you actually look at it, the teacher actually uses more positive adjective describing the baby than negative. We immediately
it was equal. Huh? It was equal. It was equal. It was
sure?
Equal. I'm positive it's equal. I got it right here. It was an equal amount. Sweet, strong, not the brightest. It was equal. So you could tell she was speaking from emotion. And that'll tell you when
but she also, but when you look at it, she started talking about how devastated she was, how hurt, how angry. She started with all of that. You know what I'm saying? So like you say, she was speaking from emotion. She wasn't even, for real, she wasn't, I don't even think she was speaking in the capacity of a teacher. But because she's a teacher, those things came up in while she was writing, right?
And she disclosed the information that she was a teacher. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't have went nowhere. It probably wouldn't have went nowhere. You got a good point. It probably would not have gone anywhere if she didn't say she was my student. Wait, let Shimmie finish his thought. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, we were talking about, you don't know about the medical, because this comes from Kimberly Johnson. Medical is HIPAA. The teachers, it's FERPA. So yeah, she was disclosing.
Go ahead, Kim.
Okay, but then when you go to college, you got to release you got to release high school transcripts to get in certain colleges.
Let me tell you this though. Who has to sign for it? We do.
Okay.
We do. We have to go up and pay. Dude, they want a fee to it to say, hey, can you send this here? And then you pay. So that's giving your consent.
Okay, let you know I ain't never go to college. Okay, so hey.
But you're gonna get there though. You're gonna get there.
And it ain't never too late. It ain't never too late.
110%.
School ain't for everybody, but
and it's not.
You know, I just felt like it was in poor taste, but it was in poor taste not because it was intended to be, because she didn't understand our culture.
Exactly. I'm with you. I'm with you with that. And she put it out there. The husband had to send a apology for the condolence.
Right.
Now, I did see somebody tag me in that, and I love you guys. I do. I love my shop talkers, and I love you guys in the community that be sending me stuff like boom, you know. And my response to him, I kind of like, you don't need to apologize for who you are. That's where we are now, you know, this whole cancel culture thing. That's why I do not like it. And if you hear me say it constantly, why this cancel culture thing is really getting on my nerves. So people were out and want her fired and terminated. And here's the thing. She self-sabotaged by giving more. So you have to watch what you post. You give all your information. I guarantee y'all can't figure out if you know where I work at, that's because you were there. The end. Because I'm not going to disclose that information because I ain't fooling with y'all. I know y'all sometime. And that's look, that's people. All right. No, y'all be like, oh, she said this on her show. And they'd be like calling for, hey, you need to, y'all got to find where I work at. That's why I don't fool with y'all. Like that. Give you y'all know Shop Talk. This is what you know. Okay. With her, she sabotaged herself. And I know that she was speaking from emotion, but him having to put out an apology for a condolence, because that's exactly what it was. Because you saw where she said, pray for the family, the whole nine. I said, this woman was given a condolence. Her husband has to apologize for a condolence. Have you ever heard of such a thing? Because peopling attacked, and you don't know the culture. Now, my comment was, did he proofread it? He should have proofread her post. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or because sometimes you run things past people. You're like, what do you think it is? Or you, like I had somebody, my mother quit. She'll be like, you misspelled a word. That's why I'm like, she is the Facebook police. You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, with the little predictor that they be having, you did. And I do it to some people because you want them to be shining in their best light. And I said, or did he know? Because this is their norm. So you can't take away or charge somebody for something, just as you said, Shimmie, for their normal, for who they are. You can't charge them for being them. And if they weren't exposed or I remember the phrase that you used, but we respond based off our experiences. And if this is what she's used to, she did nothing wrong, but why does she have to apologize? Because
that's what we force people to do in this culture, and whether it's sincere or not, you know. For me, her husband did what husbands do: come to the aid of their wives, right? Come to the aid of their spouses, right? What he put out was what she should initially have put out. That's right.
Okay, but
you know what I'm
her.
saying. But at the end of the day, what was the intent? We're in a place right now where we're so sensitive and we so hurt, and I'm one of the most sensitive people you're gonna ever meet. You make me cry, and yeah, right. But we in such a culture which for real can be traced to why we seeing the stuff that we seeing with this violence and stuff in our society. That's a whole nother conversation, right? But we're in a culture that is so sensitive, and so if you don't like what I say, if I don't like what you say, I'm gonna try to erase you, basically.
Kill you, yeah, right.
Right. So, kill you. And that's what we seeing that's what we seeing right now. Youngins don't like what each other's saying about each other, and they trying to kill each other physically. We just done got to a
mentally
point
and emotionally, you're killing each other. Now, I like that you said that. And I think we do need to be raw with each other. You don't have to kill anybody, but you can be honest.
Right.
Now we sprinkling some sprinkles or a little bit of sugar on top of you know what. Nick, you can say it with a bell. Sugar on top. Sugar on top of what, Nick?
Shit.
Yeah, no, like I get the bell. But it's like, come on. And that's what we're raising. Parents need to say, hey, listen, I am that parent. I'm straight up like this. I'll be like, yeah, yeah, she doing this. Yeah, I think she's selling drugs. I am the one that will call the police on mine. Everybody is trying to protect theirs, but you are actually enabling them.
Harming.
Yeah. So it's
that ain't love. I was having a conversation.
Okay.
I was having a conversation with a sister real quick, and she said, you know, she wasn't criticizing me, but she was trying to enlighten me. She was like, you know, you don't have children, so you don't know how hard it is to not be there for your kids when you love your kids, right? Mm-hmm. My pushback was, if we use titles that we really don't understand definitions to, like love, friendship, brotherhood, all these things. If you really love your child, then sometimes you got to make a decision that on the outside might not show or seem like you love your child, right? Mm-hmm. To people who don't understand that. I use this as an example. When I came home from prison, a whole lot of brothers offered me some dope.
Did they?
Because they had love for me.
And it's a different type of love.
Right. But that's their
that's street love. Street love.
But that's their understanding of it. But because I've been able to get a deeper understanding of it, I say, nah, thanks, bro. I appreciate it, but I'm good. Right? Because I understand that what you demonstrating to me really ain't love. Because if you're trying to give me something to harm me, or you trying to do something to harm me, that's not loving me. But I understand that that's not your intent. Your intent is to try to be there for me. So as a parent, your intent is to try to be there for your child, but what you're actually doing is harming your child because you're perpetuating and enabling them to continue to do the stuff that they're doing. But we can't say that. Well, I can't say that because I have children, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
And you know what? That is a lot of parents' perspective. You don't have a child, so you don't know. Now I'm speaking, my guest today, again, is community activist Shimmie Miller, and also Nick the Voice. We know her. Look, she gonna keep it 100. We know her weekly. So both of you don't have children biologically. However, you still have something to offer. Now, you do hear, let me say this. I don't know why y'all with no children always want people to beat their children. And I just had to put that out there. Listen, I just had to put that out there for my one friend. Oh, they need a whooping. They need a spanking. They need to let them, their children, just like, and I'm not, yes, I am. I'm comparing them as far as like life cycle with puppies. When you have a pet, when they're little kittens, little puppies, they're all over the place until they learn and they're trained. So it's like, wait a second, stop trying to get us to beat the daylights out of our children, punish, find out who they are and allow their brain to develop and key in on that. And then, key in on that and say, okay, well, let me develop this skill. If you have a child jumping all over this stuff, put them in gymnastics. Don't just say, sit down, sit down, sit down. That's not the answer. Now, when you were talking about love and you said you have people from the street, so you have your street love, you got your different communities out there. And you got your street love. So somebody was trying to say, okay, well, they knew you're from the street clearly, and they're trying to help you out so you can make a come up. Like, here you go, boom. And that street respect, you know what I mean? And then you have those, because you the ones that's coming up now, they soft. Yeah, incorrect grammar, because I ain't no teacher, okay? These young ones, they soft as all get out. That's why they just like, boom, I'm gonna shoot a gun, I'm gonna shoot you. And it's sad, and I'm not telling you how to shoot, but back in the day, you knew who shot you. Wasn't nobody in the car, way down the street, boom, and then you knew who shot you. Like cats was coming in. coming in your face, like you be standing there, be like, for real, y'all about to do this in front of me? I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? Because that's scar the person, the witness. But now they just riding by, you shooting up everybody. Like, come, really? You're not hard. You're soft. You're soft. And they like, oh, okay, well, back in the day, we used to fist fight. Now I have to address this. And I grew up in Westlake, okay? So I've seen a lot of things. Fist fight, I don't know of my years being here, I don't know no dope dealer that's talking about fist fighting, because everybody gonna be like, oh, he got knocked out. It's gonna be straight up like some Friday type stuff. And then the anger comes and now you want to kill the person because your street cred diminished. But I really don't remember any drug dealers, even, you know, my peers coming up, and you remember that like 90s, early 90s, when everybody was killing everybody, but it was personal vendettas.
Right, but let me say this though.
Oh, talk to me.
It's crazy you say this, because just last weekend we was having you might as well say a reunion of sorts, right?
Okay.
You know, we had D-Train, we had Six Pack, we had all of these cliques, gangs, but that's all we did was fight.
But that was for that. Yeah, that was
right.
Yeah.
Then we wound up, then it evolved into shooting, but we came up fighting.
Right.
Now these dudes, they ain't even.
So on your reunion, your history, your past.
Yeah.
Y'all was selling back then. Them clothes was selling. You ain't got to put it out there because I know you don't got to put it out. I had no idea that. I just seen when the 9/8 came out.
Yeah.
With the Peter
Mel, you were so naive back then. And it was a beautiful thing, but you were so naive back then, right? Like, yeah, Mel, we was selling drugs back then.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I started selling drugs when I was 12 years old, Mel. Yeah.
Shimmie, you was in my car.
And I was a drug dealer. Mel. Yes.
I need a sound effect. Where the engineer at? Oh my gosh. What?
Yes, Mel. Yes. How you think we got it? Well, I can't speak for everybody else, but that's why I was able to get nice clothes, because I sold drugs. My mother was on drugs. I didn't have a father. Like, I ain't had nobody.
Yeah, you had your own style too. You was fly.
You know, so
you right now, but you was fly.
Thank you. But it was from drug money, though. Like,
oh my goodness. I would see what I'm saying. So you're right. I was naive. I was in harm's way. Well, I thank God for protecting me.
Yeah.
Like, look at Nick. Look at Nick.
Nick like
no, listen, I'm reading a comment from someone about.
One second. Because I know you're gonna go to the comments in 1 second. I'm still at Sips T. Man, that's crazy. I was just thinking like, okay, yeah, that's, you know, boom. And oh my gosh, thank you for admitting that. And we still on this side. I appreciate that. I appreciate you not putting me in harm's way. All right, Nick, go ahead to the comments.
Okay. Mr. Rondell said, talking about, you know, they're being soft. He said, they're not soft. They're just raised by women only, emotional kids with guns. No, a bunch of soft ones that raised with both parents. So don't just put that on women only, because yeah, don't do that. Please don't do that. That's not a woman. Yeah, because now you're throwing shots at women, raising men. And I know a lot of good women who raised men.
Glad you said that. And I'm a female, and I'm gonna say this. Men, when I was divorced, you know, and their dad was in their lives, no doubt. However, there's things that I cannot teach that a man needs to teach. And I want to go back to that comment with Rondell saying that they're not soft, they're raised by women, but women are soft. So that's, you know, oxymoron, what he said. Women are soft. We're soft in nature. So we can teach you how to love and how to treat us the whole nine. But what I cannot be is a man. And yes, I can raise a male child the best I can. But here's what happens. Those boys will find a role model that is a male. And that will be their father. And they don't have to stand in that house. They don't have to stay in the house. Now, Shimmie, I want you to elaborate on it. And I want you to shout out your show. Shout out your show. Host.
Yeah, because you're gonna be on there October. I got you already booked and locked in, right? But let me say this.
Wait, say your show first. And then
the Pros and Cons podcast.
there you go. Pros and Cons.
Every other Sunday from 3 to 4.
All right.
Facebook Live. So let's talk. So I want to touch two things: balance and energy, right?
Okay.
Every human being is made up of feminine and masculine energy, right?
Okay.
Come from a man and a woman, you got feminine and masculine energy. When you unbalance, whether it be female or male, when you unbalance, either you have too much femininity as a man, or you exhibit too much masculinity as a woman, right? What happens if most women, and I actually push back on the brother for a hot second, because I've seen single mothers who try to go so hard on their young sons because they don't want them to be punks. And you hear it, I ain't raising no punk. Shut up crying, right? Because they overcompensate for not having a man there. So where she says, shut up, quit crying, his father might say, man, come here, man, what's wrong with you? But she don't understand that, because she's trying her best to fill that role that she's not equipped to fill. So they are sensitive. They're supposed to have sensitivity in them, but they're also supposed to be able to recognize their masculinity and balance the two. And when you don't have a male example of doing that, or you have a erroneous male example of doing that, then this is what you get. Masculinity is holding a gun. Masculinity is shooting somebody. That's being a man. You know what I'm saying? That's not being a man, but that's the demonstration. Like you said, we're gonna seek out somebody. Even women who have raised children on their own, young men on their own, somewhere there was a male influence. Guarantee you that. Somewhere there was a male influence. By the grace of God, it was probably a positive male influence, but somewhere it was male influence.
Okay. Roche, to the comments, said that he's speaking facts. It's about balance. And Rondell agrees with you. He said facts. So he agrees with you. Nick, you got the comments. Look, I just sat there and I stepped on your toes. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just going through it, and yeah, but to me, like still though, you can't just say women only, because there are some men that were raised by women only that are doing what they're supposed to. They're manly, they are showing their sensitive side, but they are not, so like that's what I'm
that got it the next skin.
It did. I love it though. I love it.
It kind of did.
Nick, like, hold on now, wait a minute.
Yeah, point taken. I do, since the good segue too. Let's move on to the men and women in children's lives. And I understand that you don't have children, and that's why it is really important to get your perspective, because you're on the outside looking in. When you're in it, we become tunnel vision, and we're like, you don't know what's going on, and you don't know what I deal with, and you don't know this. It is so important to get an outside view or voice. Now, it's up to you to listen to it or not. You don't have to take it all and, take it all in or take it as law, but consider it. Consider their opinion. That's what I say. Be open-minded. Go ahead, Shimmie.
So I want to use an example real quick first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bald-headed,
mm-hmm.
but I'm a barber.
Mm-hmm.
My instructor told me once I graduated, he said, man, you might want to at least grow something on your head, because nobody want to trust a bald-head barber. But I'm kind of nice.
That's a style.
I say that to say, just because I don't have children, don't mean that I wasn't a child. So I know when we talk about violence, we talk about that, they need a butt whooping, I got plenty of them. I got so many of them it was ridiculous. But yet I still was violent. Why was I violent? Because that's what I knew how to use. That's what I was taught you use to solve problems. You want somebody to get in line, you be violent, because when they wanted me to get in line, they beat me. That's not the solution. We was, again, indoctrinated. We didn't beat each other prior to slavery.
Right.
Our children wasn't beaten prior to slavery. That was introduced through slavery.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lazy man's way of disciplining your child. I was talking with a sister the other day about all these drugs they put on kids because kids are being kids. And the parents let them get put on all these drugs because it's a lazy way of taking care of your kid. Some may have
controlling them.
Absolutely. And it's the same way with, that's a lazy way. You're going to beat me, but at some point in time, you ain't going to be able to beat me no more.
Let me say this. I'm going to add this to my people in the medical profession. We call that a restraint, a chemical restraint. That's what that is. So, to each his own, do what you want with your child, but do you really want a child who has no voice? Do you really want that child to be sitting there? It's like, just sit there and don't do anything. Just like a cookie cutter. Yeah, just
and quit using the Bible and quit using the Bible where it says spare the rod, spoil the child. And really understand what the interpretation, what the meaning of that is. Again, this is something that was not in our history, not in our ancestors' history. This is something that came along through slavery. So understand the interpretation of things before you take them literally. What is it meant to say? In the Quran, it says, if your wife is disobedient to you, then you have a right to beat her, right? On the surface. Then, hold on, just hear me out. But it says, listen, but it says with the weight of a feather.
Oh, all right. Because Nick got arms.
You see what I'm saying? It says with the weight. So it's an analogy, right? And also we understand if I chastise my child, if I put my child in their place, it's a lot of ways to interpret that. Is that just meant to be literally beat me because all you're doing is reinforcing violence to me as a way to solve my problem? Yeah, I'm gonna be quiet. Go ahead, Nick.
No, I'm just because look, men and women, some of them, because you got abusers on both sides. They take that literal.
Absolutely.
They take that literal. I ain't the one you want to take it literal with. I'm just letting you know.
You already know that
because I got them hands.
Let me say this to what Shimmie said when he was speaking of Bible verses. When each one of us read a verse, we interpret it differently. Mm-hmm. And I do want to expound on what he was saying. You'll hear me say, research it for yourself, read it for yourself. There was a, oh man, I can't even think of the actual scripture that I was having a discussion with my mom, and you hear, I wish, if you're listening, call in, or I can't remember which one. Look, call in and tell me what scripture we were talking about. But it was two scriptures put together. So you do have to be careful because people use scripture to their advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And you want to do well and you want to live right. And it's like, okay, so let me do it this way. But you got to read it for yourself. The Bible is life, it's the word, but you have to read it. And my interpretation may be different from yours. So you live according to your interpretation, not somebody else's. That's what I had to say. I'm like, that's what I had to say. Like, let me put this out here, but you got to know it and read it for yourself. And don't allow other people to project their interpretations onto you. You read it for yourself, okay? All right, now back to what I was talking about. And speaking of that, wanting to be pleasing in the eye of God. With our youth, wanting to be pleasing to our parents. And like you said, Shimmie, the analogy that you use, your barber said, people won't want to come to get their hair cut by somebody who's bald, but you had hair before. And just like you said, you were a child. And I think that might be it, that a lot of people in our generation, because we are now the parents, the age, we're now the parents, and the things that we didn't get, and I heard this as well, you want to make sure that your child get it. And now we have the generation of entitlement because we don't want our children, and when I say we, I say collectively as a group, because I'm in that generation. I didn't do that though. However, you don't want your children to go without like you did. So you give. And how are we changing the roles where we're afraid to tell them no? You got to have boundaries. And if you, and let me say this with boundaries, Jeannie Mai said this, and I thought it was amazing. Boundaries, when you say yes to somebody and you don't actually set boundaries, when you say yes to them, you say no to you. And we need to set boundaries and say, no, this is it. I'm not your friend. Tell your children, I'm not your friend. We have to stop getting high with our children. And this one just blows my mind, talking about something, well, I'd rather them do it here than out in the street. And the response to that, when I had that conversation, it was from a younger person. They said, well, if they're doing it at home, they're really going to do it in the street because they know it's cool. And that was a young person that said that. I said, very interesting. And how do you justify your wrongdoing by allowing your children to do? That seems, go ahead, would you say?
Because it's easier to let them do that than to try to discipline your child for doing it. So the cop out is they're gonna do it anyway. They might as well do it in my house or do it with me, which is even, it's just asinine when you even say the stuff, right? Like, but yeah. But that's it's a cop out, you know. You don't want to do the work that's required. You don't want to be consistent, that's required, or do the quote unquote overtime. And now in this, I will say, I don't have children, so I can't tell you the amount of time it takes to raise a child properly.
Every minute, every second of every day.
So when you have that child, when you make a decision to have that child, then you also need to make a decision to devote that time to that child, right? Not, okay, I want to go out tonight, whatever, boo, 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 and then leave the child to fend for themselves. Well, that ain't.
You are the village. You and Nick are the village.
Yeah.
You guys are the village. You know when they say it takes a village to raise a child? You are the village. And I want to go to this comment, which I thought it was extremely profound. This is from Rondell. Rondell said it's hard to do the village method because you have to own the village. That's the only way to control the laws of your land and direct the culture. Now, that's his view. Levan says the two most important books to him are the Bible and the dictionary. Oh, absolutely. Educate yourself, educate and live right, you know. But you guys are the village, even though you don't have children biologically. When a child is placed in your presence, and you being an adult, productive citizen in society, because that's the goal for everyone as adults, and I say we as parents, we expect you, if our child is in your presence, we expect you to teach them right. We expect positive things, honestly. We don't expect, okay, hey, I'm gonna run to the store real quick for you to show them something negative. We don't expect that. So you are the village. Does the village exist? Absolutely, the village does exist. The problem is the parents have to allow the village to do their part. Because you have a lot of parents that be like, no, don't chastise mine. Or if you call them like, hey, I send your child over here, don't worry about mine. That's the problem. And now they out here killing somebody.
Why do you think that is, man?
1 second. Why they're out here killing somebody, now you sitting there talking about something or getting killed. Now you want to go fund me. Now you want me to support your cause. When this could have been avoided. Now you're reaching out like, can you help me when I was trying to help you before it got here? Because I'm going to tell you one thing. When we are in the picture, we don't see what the outside sees. So somebody on the outside might say, hey, I see them going down the wrong path. But we're in the picture. So we're in the portrait. And we don't see that because we're at work. We can't see it. We need the village. And we need to be open-minded to the village. Like I said, you don't have to take it as a law, but consider it. What are they doing outside your house? what's going on? Now you asked me, you said, why do I think it is that way?
That parents no longer want to allow the village to be the village.
Because the village told on them and they didn't like it, getting whooped by everybody or disciplined by everybody. Same thing. That's why the village raised them and they didn't like that. They didn't like being held accountable because that's what it boiled down to. Not liking being held accountable. When you were on punishment, that was your accountability for doing wrong.
And that's
You're
why they
held
don't hold their
accountable for your
kids
actions.
accountable.
And they're like, no, I didn't like it. They told on me. And you have some people that's my age still upset with old people now that told on them. I'm like, but were you wrong? Well, that's beside the point. No, that kept you together. I'm like, hello. So you don't want that with yours. Now, I will say, even in school, you have some people, they'll say, let the parents get involved. The parents need to be more involved. The parents need to be more involved. I mean, they try everything. We'll feed you at the parent-teacher conference. We're giving this, we're giving that. They're trying everything to get the people out. Now, I will say this, 73% of parents, and this is in our culture, 73% are working. So that's why they're not coming to like parent-teacher conference. And these were the stats in 2018, I think, 17, 18, back then. The parents are working, so that's why they can't come. Now, I could alter my stuff being in management and I would go. It was 3 people, no lie, 3 parents at the parent-teacher conference. They had a raffle. I was like, yes, I was excited. Sorry for y'all, I got a chance of winning this raffle. Do you know I still lost? I said,
with 3 people? Oh my goodness.
I was like, 3 people. My chances was going to be great. And I still lost. I said, no, see, this is ridiculous. But you need the parents to be present. And I have seen this. I was that present parent. But guess what? I'm the only present parent, but you can't keep calling me all day long because I'm the only present parent. So now every time my child does something, oh, he won't tie his shoe. I'm gonna need you not to call me for that. Well, I could correct my child, but if 18 other students in here aren't doing right, don't call me because my child is doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? And for something small like that, this major, yeah, okay, okay, thank you for putting me on. You could have wrote me a note and said, okay, I seen them doing this, but the majority is doing, and these are elementary students, so you're trying to find yourself. So you don't know yet that, the whole following thing. I popped up at a school one time, and then I'm gonna move on to the next subject. I popped into the school one time. My child was sitting there because my child knew the teacher was gonna call. The whole classroom they had like wet paper towels and was throwing them at the ceiling. And then it was like 3 guys in the back. They was blowing spitballs through straws. I've been a child before, just like Shimmie said, so I already know. So I looked at the situation. I came and got him. I told him, come on out. School, I just happened to pop up. I was like, let's go. And I asked him, I said, did you want to throw something? Did you want to throw the wet paper towel? He was like, yep. I said, I know you did. He just started laughing. He was like, but I knew she was going to call you. I was like, I know you did. He was like, I didn't want to blow.
Did she call? Hopefully she called all the other parents though.
Listen, when I talk to her, the parents don't respond. So she said, that's the thing. So you had 3 children who the parents respond to, but the rest of them don't. So she just like gave up. So here they, listen, I knew he wanted to take a wet paper towel and throw it up because they stick on the ceiling in the classroom. She had no control of her classroom, but not the other 18 students. You call, you on this one, and he knows better than I said, no. So I was at that point, like, no, you're not going to chastise mine and use mine as an example because you know that his mother present. We're not going to do that, especially amongst their peers. That's the worst thing you can do. So I got your back. And I be telling them, I was like, all right, tell me the truth. What's going on? Especially when you get called, you be like, tell me the truth so I know the strategy to use when I go in here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But,
you know what, man?
What?
My mama tricked me like that to get me to admit to her that I was selling drugs. That same thing. Tell me what's going on so I know how to have your back.
Yes.
But let me say this real quick before
What did she
move on.
do? What did she say? So she let you admitted to selling drugs, and what was her response?
Give me some money.
Oh, that's
my
what
mom, but my mom was on drugs my entire life, so that was a normal response. You know what I'm saying?
That was your experience. Okay.
Yeah. That just allowed me. But even with my mom being on drugs, I still had a certain amount of angst about her finding out. So when she wound up seeing me, and she like, okay, because I'm talking to her, and somebody come walking by like, Shimmie, what's up? I'm like, hey, how you doing? Trying to play it off. She like, well, what he want? And then somebody come right behind it and say it again. Hey, how you doing? She like, okay, what he want? And then she tricked me. She like, well, you need to tell me what's going on just in case I got a cover for you, da-da-da. And you know, I'm 13, 12. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah. And so that's how she found out. But, you know, the educational system, just like the criminal system, criminal justice system needs a complete overhaul.
Okay.
You know, we live in a capitalist society, which means you make money based off of how much money you can generate off a product. Teachers should be one of the highest paid people, highest paid profession. They're not because they don't generate no money. So you get people who might generally want to help. They're not equipped with, especially when you're dealing with cultural differences, because we don't want to go into the teacher field because they don't make enough money, and we don't want to put up with them kids for that. So we leave our kids to somebody else who don't understand cultural differences or how to relate to the kids, which means they need some type of training, but there's no money for this type of training so they can understand the kids that's in their care for half of their lives. So you get all of these pockets of stuff that's being missed, these holes that's not being filled, because frankly, these teachers don't know how to fill them. Then you got the parents who send the kids to school, and it's like, okay, stay in school, I'm done. I literally had a conversation with my dude yesterday about this. Like, you got to be more active with your kids at school. He said, I'm gonna make his mama take him to school. I'll pick him up. But he living with you. No, you take him to school when you pick him up because you don't want to get up early in the morning. Come on, man, it's your responsibility. But we think, okay, we're gonna send him to school, let the school deal with them, and then when they come home, I'll deal with them. Like the whole system needs a whole overhaul.
I agree with you 100%. Nick, you want to go to the comments? Rashay Gibson.
She said, speaking of like the parents, and when they leave work, they will tell their children not to talk to them. And she's saying basically parenting, like you said, is a 24/7 job. She loves her children, so she is on that job 24/7. And you're right, some parents is like hit or miss. Don't talk to me. And some of them live to send their kids to school. Even when your children are in school, you still have to be that parent, because anything can happen. Some of them get mad when the teacher calls, say so-and-so, say, oh, they ain't sick, they just trying to come home. That may be true, or they may literally be sick. You know
what? But
they don't want to be bothered. And you're the nurse, you know
that. And see, they are sick. They may not be sick physically, but they may be sick mentally, and that's why they want to come home. That there is more to it. And yes, you do have those. You do. And it's like, okay, so why do they want the attention? What's really going on? Where's, you know what I mean? Our culture has a problem with going to a psychiatrist, talking to someone, especially a lot of our men. I don't need to tell them my business. I don't need to talk to somebody else. You probably just need to vent. And what Shimmie was saying, as far as like teachers, I want to say this. Yes, teachers and police officers. You have some bad police officers and you have some great police officers. They need to be paid more. Youngstown, I want to say, I believe it was what, $13, $14 to start a police officer.
Yeah.
Now here's the deal. I just like he said, I ain't lying to you. I was like, I wouldn't apply. I was like, heck no, I ain't about to go out there fooling with these people. My major in college used to be elementary education. Clearly, I changed it. You see what I am now, right? I can't. That wasn't my ministry. And parents want to come up there and fight the teachers. They want to fight everybody. The secretary, everybody, they come through the door, stop it. How about you take that bonnet off and put some clothes on and quit embarrassing your child? Because that's a lot of the problem too. Okay. Children, when they come to like the nurses or, you know, acting out in the class, at one point, remember they would put the child out in the hallway? You out the class and your desk was out in the hallway, you walk like, oh, they must have acted up. It's changing where the entire class is acting up. And then you have one student out that actually wants to learn, but you have all the distraction. Like I was saying before, you had a group of 8 people. You had that one that'd be like, oh, we need to rob a bank. And you'd be like, man, you stupid, you crazy. The other 7 people. Now you have the 7 people saying, yeah, that's a good idea. And then that one saying, nah, that's not a good idea. So it's changing. Their mindset is changing. I really believe that the village needs to come back, and we need to say there was a reason, even though we know history repeats itself, and they say what, every 20 years, but it's like, there was a reason why this was in place. You ever work at a job and you'd be like, okay, we did that. And then they take it out and you'd be like, why did they do that? It wasn't broke. Why you want to fix it? Some new person comes in and want to change everything. And then you go right down that same rabbit hole because they didn't know and they didn't listen to the people that were there. You didn't listen, you know what I mean? To say, this is what we've been through here. No, they're coming in here with tunnel vision and this is the way we're going to do it. More like a dictatorship. Leaders, you got to stop. Managers, talk to your crew and say, hey, well, I was thinking about doing this. Did you go through this? Go ahead, Nick.
Sure. I'm going through that now.
Excuse me.
The one young lady who's been at my other job for a while, she just got promoted to front desk manager. Now, all of a sudden, before how I talk, because all of my jobs, the way I am here on here, I am how I am.
Yeah, okay.
So, and they know that. So now all of a sudden she's trying to manage how I talk or manage. And I'm like, no, we're not going to do that, because just a month or 2 ago, before you got this position, you thought everything I did and said was funny, how you love me. You wish you worked with me because, you know, we going to come.
Okay, I don't want you to incriminate yourself. You see me, Shimmie, I'm trying to like, okay, you still work there.
Oh, no, I'm not going to incriminate. No, I'm not going to. But it's just like you said, that micromanage. Now, don't come in here micromanaging now because it was okay before. Leave it alone. See, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's the difference. She was your peer. And that's where the difference is. Like I was talking about, you can't call somebody out. She was your equal. Wait. She was your equal. I don't even know her. I don't even want to know. And I don't want you to put too much information out there like the teacher did.
No, I'm just saying,
because they go trying to cancel you.
Like, the peer above her, the main one, don't have a problem with it.
But guess what though? Now she's in that position. She has a problem with it. Anyway,
she got a problem with it, but not the GM.
Well, guess what? She probably in a minute might be like, put up a shut up. But I won't. And I know how you gonna respond.
Exactly. And they all know me, so she best not do it.
Okay. You heard. Go ahead, Shimmie. She ain't paying me no. I'm like, no.
She better not do it.
Yeah, she locked in.
Right.
She locked in.
Go ahead, Shimmie. Did you forget the topic? Now that she did you forget the point? she be in it till she be in it. Go ahead.
Right. What was the question?
Right, like, wait a minute, what was I talking about? Okay, well, let's just move on to the next.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, let's just go to the next one. Do you think it's important to choose your mate wisely when parenting? when parenting? And how does it affect, the child, since we've all been children?
I'm just going to say common sense for 100 male and say yeah to that question.
Okay.
I'm going to answer yeah to that, though I don't have many. I'm going to say yeah to that.
But you've been a boyfriend to women who had children.
That's why I'm gonna say yeah to that question. Right. I believe again. Watch this. I'll go back to it's an example in the Bible. And don't come for me because I ain't a pastor, so I don't know it verbatim. But it was a story about Abraham.
We're all ministries. We're all ministers.
Right. So the story about Abraham goes that Jesus came to visit Abraham, and his wife, I don't know if it was Sarah or his other wife, greeted him, and Abraham wasn't there. And Jesus didn't like the way that he didn't like her hospitality. So he told Abraham, change your doorstep, change your threshold. And that was basically change your wife, get a new wife because she's not the one that's suitable for you. So yeah, and now I'm full disclosure, I'm Muslim. It says marriage is half of your religion, because to choose a good wife, it says your wife can make your life heaven or hell. Right? So if you got a good woman, she gonna raise you, she gonna rise you, she gonna support you, she gonna encourage you, she gonna make your life heaven. If you got the wrong one, you in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So I believe absolutely it's imperative to choose a good mate. That's why, yeah, that's another conversation. Yeah. I almost said too much.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, listen, let me say this, got to put this disclosure out there. The views and the interpretations of the Bible is the views of Shimmie Miller and not the views of everyone on ShopTalk with me. Okay, now that I got that out, we
don't want the pastors coming at you.
Listen, I ain't worried about that because, again, our interpretations are, when we read something, we interpret it differently and we get what we get from it. So yours was choose your wife wisely. And if she ain't right, change out.
Get another one.
Go ahead. Look, Nick agree 110%. Do you agree with that interpretation?
Sure do. Husband number 3. Get another. If the first one don't work, get a second one. The second one don't work, get a third one. One don't work. Guess what? I'm done. I'll die alone. That's how we go. We came in this world alone. We leaving in this world by ourselves. So listen, I ain't mad.
Any thoughts on choosing your mates when you're a parent, when raising children?
Yes, you absolutely positively need to choose it, because you could be with somebody from the wrong side of the tracks and you try your best to raise that child the right way, and he's still gonna go on that side because that's the side that the other side came from. So yeah, you definitely need to, and that's I mean, because everything that glitter ain't gold. We already know that. So yeah, please choose them wisely.
I'd add to that, you definitely need to, because children like to be, like I was saying, pleasing in the eye. We all want to be pleasing in the eye of God. Children, want to be pleasing in the eye of their parents. And when you don't give your child, let's be 110% clear. I'm more positive on this one. Okay, 110%. Let's be clear. When you have children, you're already at work. They just want your attention and love. And if you neglect them, and then guess what? We want attention and love. So we're looking out for a mate. Now that mate has taken the time that you would have spent with your child. Okay, and I'm a parent, that you would have spent with your child. Now this mate took that. Now your child is acting out and becoming that mate, or say, okay, I want, they're looking at that mate as a role model, because why? That's what mommy likes. Mommy likes this, so I'm going to become that so that I can get the attention. Daddy likes this type of female. I'm craving the attention, but I don't know how to articulate that. I'm speaking from a child. I don't know how to articulate that. Hey, I need some attention. You know what I mean? So they become what you date because they think that's what you like. Okay, so please choose your mate wisely. And I'll say it again, mothers who have sons, watch who you bring around your children and you're around your son. because it's one or two things that can occur.
Well,
If you have a son and a daughter, I need you to look at that. If you're sleeping around, you are letting your son know that it's okay to just sleep over somebody else's children with different dudes, if that's what you're doing. I'm not in your household. Little girls, if you have a little girl, you are teaching her that it's okay to sleep with different guys. That's something that, you know, you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's gonna, in the end, you're gonna want to know what happened. I will say, as far as like a solution for our young adults, because I do feel like I shouldn't have bought my house, paid for, and you want to come in your little gang banging child that you don't want to tell on and you want to protect is ruining my neighborhood, shooting up at, why do I have to move when my house is paid for and I've been living here for 30 to 40 years? Because y'all scared to tell. You know what I mean? Tell your children what's right or wrong. Right. And I think that's foul. And it's, you know, you have some elderly people that are like, yeah, my children are nervous. They're scared. They told me I need to move because the neighborhood is getting bad. We got to take our neighborhoods back. So if you see something, say something. And don't be exposing your children to something and then upset.
Right.
Upset when they go, you know, that route.
We need to get rid of that whole thing in our culture. Snitches get stitches, or I don't snitch. Man, go on, because I'm gonna tell you now, I'm snitching. I'm dry snitching. I'm wet snitching. I'm snitching under a table. I'm snitching swinging from the chandelier. I'm snitching. Yes. Especially if it's going to harm me and mine, or somebody in my neighborhood that don't bother nobody, and then they're a victim. Oh, I'm telling. I'm letting y'all know now. I'm snitching. I'm
snitching. I tell you what though, this is what we need to do when the new person come in the neighborhood. Go introduce ourselves, be like, yes, I'm the neighborhood snitch. Tell them off.
Boom. I tell everybody. I'm telling.
I am the neighborhood snitch. And you, I also like knowing, you know, a lot of police officers. I'll be like, come by my house in your cop car on your break. To let them know, like, boom. I'm like, come over, bring the cruiser. Come bring the cruiser. And Nick and Shimmie, y'all know who I'm gonna call. Come roll on over. You know what I mean? So they can see, oh, the police frequent this area. Exactly. You know, you gotta use what you got.
We gotta understand too, though, that so civilians aren't snitches, right? Civilians, Nick, if you sitting in your yard, or Mel, you sitting in your yard and you see some dudes, you know, breaking in somebody's car across the street, you don't live by their code.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Civilians aren't snitches.
Thank you.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of misconception at. If I chose to live by these rules in the street, that's where snitching comes in. If I'm a working person who go to work, pay my taxes, come home, drink my coffee, eat my lunch, I don't live by the rules. That's not snitching. That's being a citizen.
Thank you.
That's being a citizen. But people like me, who I used to be, we put that on y'all to try to force y'all not to do what y'all supposed to do, because y'all supposed to do that. I remember I was teaching a class and I asked the guys in the class, if the old lady that live on the third floor, who sits in her window every day and see y'all selling drugs on the corner, decide to call the police, is she snitching? Yeah, she's snitching. I say, why is she snitching? Because she called the police. I said, but whose rules did she agree to live by? Yours or hers? Well, nah, that's not snitching. That's calling the police. That's telling. It's a difference. I have a responsibility to tell if I see something going on in my neighborhood that's not supposed to be in my neighborhood as a member of this neighborhood. I didn't sign on. And when you all know this probably better than me. You know, you go into certain communities, you have community meetings, you sign contracts.
Community watch
And all these, and you all have agreed to a standard of living in that community. Right? You all have agreed to a plan of action in that community. And so everyone adheres to that plan. My plan my agreement with Mel and Nick ain't the agreement that I got with this dude down here selling dope. So my agreement is to tell on this dude that's down there selling dope because he's not in compliance with what we agreed it. That's not snitching. I'm not on the corner with him and then I'm telling, which is still, that's snitching. But even like, we have to change. I mean, we have to, I'm really big on addressing the thinking, in the joint they call it stinking thinking.
Okay.
That we've been indoctrinated with as a community, as a community in general, on so many different aspects. When I was going through counseling, my counselor said, my job is to try to get you as close to Joe normal thinking as possible. So even to this day now, when I'm dealing with a situation, I'm always asking myself, am I thinking like somebody who's trying to navigate prison and make it through prison? Or am I thinking like a person who's a citizen of this community that I say I want to live in? And it's exhausting, but it's required because I've done it a one way so long. And now I'm retraining myself to do it another way. But we have to, as a community, we have to do that. As a community, even going to the teaching thing, right? You said the stats was 73% of parents are working, right? So we can't call them bad parents because the pressure of providing for their families is on the right. But while we can't have a holistic approach to, okay, this is parent-teacher conference, we know that this is important for parents to know what's going on with their child in school. We can work in concert with their jobs so that they don't have to be punished for taking the day off or doing whatever to be at this parent-teacher conference. Will that solve it and make everybody show up? No, but you'll have more than 3 people and they ain't blowing up mail's phone looking for mail to do everything. You know what I'm saying? Situation, economics drive a lot of things, and we have to really address the economic issue as well as the, quite frankly, some people just lazy and don't want to do the work that's required to raise a child the right way. But we could take a more holistic approach to so many things if we just changed our mentality.
Reboot your hard drive, and that's it in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
That's it in a nutshell. Again, I want to thank you, actually, community activist and host of Pros and Cons podcast, Shimmie Miller, and also you lovely people know Nick the Voice, go keep it 100. Y'all heard her, she was on it. She just sat there, we like, wait, what was we talking about? Hold on, wait. That's why I'm like, okay, let's stop. Listen, and her reactions, it paints a picture. So like, I was at the front desk. You know what I mean? I was there like,
For sure. I appreciate it.
Gather the congregation. We was all in like, what? I was like,
right. We done lost the topic.
Right.
My bad, sorry.
We ride right now.
Right.
Like I was trying to stay on the topic and go with the conversation at hand right at that moment, but it went to the left, y'all.
Yeah. Bring it back. Let's reel it back in, honey. Let's reel it back in.
Wait a minute, Shimmie got something going on tomorrow, don't you? You still planning on that?
Doing that. We're gonna stay focused on the show. Hold on. See, that's not what we gonna do. We gonna finish the show. Okay, that's definitely
hands up, don't shoot.
Right. Look, like, wait, we gotta stay focused. All right, Nick, I need you to tell me who is this week's small business? Who's on the spotlight?
The spotlight today is Danny G's Creations LLC, Danielle Gibson 56@gmail.com. Her number is 330-787-7236. And Shanae Gibson. They do event planning and cupcakes out of this world. I had bought some cupcakes like last month.
Wait, because I'm lost.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Are they bakers or
they do it all?
Decorations?
They bake. They do cupcakes. They do event planning. I had some cupcakes from them, and I'm telling you, them cupcakes was the bomb.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about their cupcakes because they're
cupcakes, and they do chocolate cover. They do the apples, candy apples, chocolate covered apples. Treats. They have different, so they do treats as well. So they do event planning and they do treats. And I had their chocolate cover.
let me ask this
Okay.
because you focused on the treats. When you say event planning, so when you say event planning, they plan events. So all we have to do is just call them up and they'll plan the entire event, the venue and everything.
Yep. You can call and ask about the treats, to call and
No,
ask about the event planning.
But when you say event planning, because event planning to me means, hey,
Is event
listen,
planning.
I'm
Exactly.
having this, and then they'll handle the venue and all that other stuff, and then they'll just give me one price, and then they also have treats. Am I getting? am I clear?
Yeah. This is
Okay, I see you have the
treats on one
card
side and the event planning on the other side of the card. But yes,
on the
you
other side
actually
of the
have to.
card. On the other
Is
side
the
of the
event
card.
planning?
What else does it say below there?
It's is given her Facebook page, Danny G Creations.
Okay, so that's what we need to do. We need to go to her Facebook page to see everything that she has to
Everything
offer.
that she does.
Now, is creation spelled the normal way?
Yes, it is.
I love it. All right, so is it DANNY or
DANNY G's Creations LLC.
Okay, so on Facebook is Danny G's Creations.
On
I'm
Facebook,
gonna look it up.
Danny G's,
I'm gonna look
But
it up.
they do the event plan. They do treat creations, and they do event planning. They incorporate two businesses in one.
Okay, there you go. Because I was like, wait, I'm getting confused. Okay, so
I
they
know
do
I
treats.
was all over the place with the card. Like, wait a minute. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was focused on them treats though. That's my main thing.
I
The
see.
cupcakes was the bomb, girlfriend. And listen,
Were they
I
moist?
got
They were moist, the cupcakes?
yes, very. I got the apple that I got. It was a Reese cup apple, candy
Candy
apple.
apple?
Child, listen.
Wait a minute. No, because I know what an apple tastes like. So the Reese cup. So was that on the outside of it?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
that's
dipped in the
interesting.
chocolate, and then they broke off pieces of Reese cup and put it on the
Oh,
girl.
okay.
Listen, that apple.
It was good.
Oh, child, listen. They do different, different types of
Let's
apples.
talk about this
different types of
apple. Let's
cupcakes.
talk about this apple now. Was it the Granny Smith apple or what?
It was a Granny Smith apple too. So you got that nice sweet sour taste with that chocolate and that peanut butter.
Okay,
They was on to something with that one. I'm telling you.
Okay, so that is
telling you.
Danny G's Creations. You can look it up on Facebook. Look them up on Facebook, and they also do event planning. All right, lovely people. Let's talk about today's footnote. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. All right, lovely people, that is my time. Thank you for giving me your point of view, your perspective. Point taken all together. If you want to like us, click like on all socials, all is Shop Talk with Mel. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you to the listening audience and also the viewers. I truly appreciate your time, because time you cannot get back. You'll hear me say that over and over again. All the information is below. If you would like to donate to the channel, Shop Talk with Mel, you can definitely do so. And that is Cash App at Shop Talk with Mel, PayPal at Shop Talk with Mel. Everything is just a Shop Talk with Mel. That's it. All right. Find you, embrace you. Most importantly, always, always love you. Until next week, people. Shop Talk. Right here.
We try to get it together.
12 noon. Yes, all the time. All the time.